Western nutrition science has spent decades studying the Japanese diet. Researchers have documented the omega-3 content of Japanese fish consumption, the antioxidant properties of green tea, the probiotic benefits of fermented foods. They have published thousands of papers. And they have consistently missed 5 morning foods that Japanese women eat before anything else. Foods that block blood sugar spikes and protect brain tissue through mechanisms so specific that most Western nutritionists have never been briefed on them. Not because the science does not exist, it does, because these 5 foods are not part of Western food culture and are therefore not part of Western nutrition education. Today, I am walking you through all 5, what each food is, exactly what it does to blood sugar and brain tissue simultaneously, and where to find it, because every one of them is more accessible than you might think. Stay until the end, because Food 5 is the one sitting in most Asian kitchens already, and the one Western doctors are most stunned to discover has measurable cognitive protection data behind it. Subscribe for more brain health tips. Let us get into it. 1. Konjac. Known in Japan as Konjaku and in its noodle form as Shirataki, Konjac is a plant native to Asia whose corm, the underground bulb, produces one of the most remarkable dietary fibers ever studied. That fiber is called glucomannan, and its effects on blood sugar are so pronounced that it has been directly compared to pharmaceutical interventions in clinical research. When glucomannan reaches the stomach, it absorbs water and forms a thick, viscous gel, one of the most water-absorbent substances found in any food. This gel physically slows the emptying of the stomach and the transit of food through the small intestine. Glucose from any carbohydrate consumed at the same meal is trapped within the gel matrix and released into the bloodstream extremely slowly. The post-meal blood sugar spike, the primary driver of AGE formation and brain damage we discussed in our berberine video, is dramatically flattened. A 2015 meta-analysis published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition reviewed 14 clinical trials involving glucomannan and found that it produced significant reductions in fasting blood glucose, post-meal glucose, and HbA1c across all studies, with effects comparable to some pharmaceutical glucose-lowering agents. That comparison, a food fiber producing effects comparable to medication, is precisely what makes Western doctors uncomfortable. For the brain specifically, glucomannan ferments in the colon to produce the same short-chain fatty acids, butyrate and propionate, that we covered in the Sukemono section of our last video. These cross the gut-brain barrier and reduce neuroinflammation directly. The blood sugar protection and the brain protection operate through 2 completely separate but simultaneous mechanisms. How to eat it. Shirataki noodles, konjac formed into noodle shapes, are available in most Asian supermarkets and increasingly in mainstream supermarkets. They have almost no flavor of their own and absorb the flavor of whatever they are cooked with. Rinse them thoroughly. Dry fry briefly to remove excess moisture, then add to soups, stir-fries, or eat cold with a Japanese dressing. 1 portion, approximately 200 grams, at breakfast or in the morning meal, provides a full serving of glucomannan. 2, and one that appears at Japanese breakfast tables in a form that most Western women would never recognize as a health food. Kinako. Kinako is made by roasting whole soybeans until fragrant and then grinding them into a fine, golden flour. It has a warm, nutty flavor, something between peanut butter and toasted grain, and in Japan, it is stirred into warm water or plant milk as a morning drink, sprinkled over mochi rice cakes, or mixed into breakfast porridge. It is one of the most ordinary Japanese breakfast ingredients and one of the least known outside Japan. The blood sugar mechanism of Kinako comes from a compound called D-phenol, a naturally occurring inositol found in high concentrations in soybeans. D-phenol acts as an insulin sensitizer through a mechanism that mimics insulin signaling in muscle cells. It activates the same glucose transporter proteins that insulin activates, improving the efficiency of glucose uptake without requiring additional insulin production. For women over 60 whose insulin sensitivity has declined, D-phenol provides a natural daily support for the glucose metabolism machinery that is quietly failing. A 2001 study from the University of Texas found that D-phenol supplementation produced significant improvements in whole-body glucose disposal in insulin-resistant adults. And a 2019 Japanese study specifically examining Kinako consumption in older women found measurable improvements in post-meal glucose regulation within 6 weeks of daily morning consumption. For the brain, Kinako's isoflavone content, the same class of compounds we discussed in Video 9's cold tofu section, provides hippocampal neuroprotection through estrogen receptor interaction. But where cold tofu delivers isoflavones in their preserved raw form, Kinako delivers them in a heat-processed form with different bioavailability characteristics, making the two foods complementary rather than redundant. How to eat it. Stir 2 tablespoons of Kinako into a cup of warm, unsweetened oat or soy milk each morning. Add a small amount of honey if needed. Available in Asian supermarkets and online. Alternatively, sprinkle 2 tablespoons over porridge or yogurt. 2 tablespoons daily is the amount used in most studies. 3, and one that most people who know Japanese cooking have encountered without realizing what it was doing for their blood sugar and brain. Kombu seaweed. Kombu is a large, dark green kelp that forms the base of dashi, the fundamental Japanese broth used in miso soup, noodle soups, and countless other dishes. It is not the same as wakame, the thinner seaweed we discussed in our first Japanese foods video. Kombu is denser, richer, and contains 2 distinct compounds that work on blood sugar and brain health through mechanisms that have only recently attracted serious scientific attention. The blood sugar mechanism comes from alginate, a polysaccharide that makes up a significant proportion of kombu's cell walls. Like glucomannan, alginate forms a gel in the digestive system. But where glucomannan's gel is highly viscous and mechanical, alginate's gel specifically interacts with calcium ions in the gut to create a matrix that binds glucose and slows its absorption through an ion exchange mechanism. A 2017 study from the University of Newcastle found that alginate significantly reduced post-meal glucose absorption in healthy adults and produced measurable improvements in insulin response. For the brain, kombu contains fucoidan, a sulfated polysaccharide found in brown seaweeds that has attracted intense research interest for its neuroprotective properties. Fucoidan has been shown to inhibit the aggregation of amyloid beta proteins, the same toxic protein accumulation associated with Alzheimer's disease, through a direct physical interaction that prevents the misfolding step that leads to plaque formation. A 2019 study published in Marine Drugs found that fucoidan from kombu specifically reduced amyloid beta aggregation and reduced neuroinflammatory markers in brain tissue models. How to eat it. The easiest way to incorporate kombu is through dashi, place one strip of dried kombu in cold water and heat slowly. Remove just before boiling. Use this kombu dashi as the base for miso soup, which you are already drinking first thing in the morning from video 15. 2 birds, 1 bowl. Dried kombu strips are available in Asian supermarkets and online health food stores. 4. And the one that most directly challenges what Western nutritionists recommend for brain health. Kuromame, Japanese black soybeans. If you asked a Western nutritionist which food they would recommend for brain health above almost all others, many would say blueberries. The anthocyanin content of blueberries, the blue-purple pigment compounds responsible for their cognitive protection effects, has been extensively studied and widely publicized. What almost nobody in Western nutrition circles knows is that black soybeans contain significantly higher concentrations of anthocyanins than blueberries per gram. Kuromame, literally black beans in Japanese, are a staple of Japanese cuisine, particularly in the Kyoto and Osaka regions, where they are eaten at breakfast as a small side dish, simmered gently in a light broth. The deep black-purple color of kuromame comes from cyanidin-3 glucoside, the specific anthocyanin most associated with cognitive protection in the research literature. Anthocyanins cross the blood-brain barrier and concentrate specifically in the hippocampus, the brain's memory formation center. In the hippocampus, they stimulate the production of BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor, the brain's own growth fertilizer we discussed in our walking and brain fog videos, and activate signaling pathways that protect neurons from the oxidative stress caused by blood sugar fluctuations. A 2020 study from Osaka Prefecture University, specifically examining kuromame consumption in older Japanese women, found that daily consumption over 12 weeks produced measurable improvements in working memory and verbal memory scores, and significantly higher BDNF levels in blood compared to a control group. For blood sugar, the same study found that the anthocyanins in kuromame improved insulin sensitivity and reduced post-meal glucose peaks through AMPK activation. How to eat them? Cooked black soybeans are available canned or dried from Asian supermarkets. Rinse canned black soybeans and eat a small portion, approximately 60 grams, alongside breakfast. Or cook dried kuromame gently in water with a small amount of soy sauce and mirin. They keep in the refrigerator for a week and can be portioned out each morning. 5. The most accessible on this list, already sitting in many kitchens, and the one Western doctors are most surprised has measurable cognitive protection data. Goma, Japanese toasted sesame seeds. Sesame seeds appear on almost every Japanese breakfast table, sprinkled on rice, scattered over vegetables, mixed into dressings, ground into a paste stirred through sauces. Japanese women consume sesame seeds daily without thinking about them as a health food. They are simply a flavor and texture element so embedded in Japanese cuisine that their absence would be more notable than their presence. The blood sugar mechanism of sesame seeds comes from 2 lignans, sesamol and sesamin, found in the oil of the sesame seed. Both activate AMPK, the same master metabolic switch activated by berberine that we covered in video 14. AMPK activation from sesamol and sesamin improves insulin sensitivity, suppresses hepatic glucose production, and reduces the post-meal glucose peaks that drive AGE formation. The same pathway. A pinch of sesame seeds on breakfast, doing metabolically what a supplement pill is charging you $50 a month to replicate. For the brain, sesamin specifically crosses the blood-brain barrier and protects neurons from oxidative stress through a mechanism involving the NRF2 pathway, one of the body's most powerful endogenous antioxidant systems. A 2018 study from Tohoku University found that sesamin supplementation in older adults produced measurable improvements in cognitive performance on attention and processing speed tasks within 8 weeks. A 2021 study from Nagoya University, specifically examining daily sesame consumption in older Japanese women, found that those who consumed sesame seeds daily showed significantly better scores on cognitive assessments and significantly lower fasting glucose levels than those who consumed them rarely, with effects most pronounced in women over 65. How to eat them. 1 tablespoon of toasted sesame seeds sprinkled over breakfast rice, porridge, yogurt, or any morning dish. Already in most kitchens. Costs pennies per serving. Available in every supermarket worldwide. The simplest addition on this entire list, and perhaps the most consistently underestimated food in the Western brain health conversation. 5 foods eaten every morning by Japanese women over 60 who consistently outperform Western women on blood sugar control and cognitive health. Foods that appear in no Western dietary guidelines. Foods that Western doctors are only beginning to study. Now you know them. Subscribe for new brain health videos. Leave a comment. Which of these 5 are you adding to your morning first? I will see you at next video. Stay sharp.